Welcome to Exit Ready, the podcast for agency owners who want to build a business worth selling so that if somebody one day puts their hand up in the air and says that they're ready to buy it, that the company is ready. My name is Conor McCauley, and today I'm talking to Elizabeth and Anthony Heaney from Squint Creative here in Belfast. They started their business from their apartment during COVID, lockdown in fact, in 2020, and over the last 5 and a bit years, they've built one of the most distinctive creative studios in the country. This conversation is a great one from my perspective. It's about finding out what happens when you have an idea, when you try to find your niche, and building a business with the person that you share your life with. So with that, I'd like to welcome Anthony and Elizabeth. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Connor.
How are you doing today?
Yes, all good, all good. Yeah, thank you very much for taking the time to have us on your podcast.
I'm delighted to have you both. You're brilliant people. I really love what you guys do, and I'm a huge champion of your business. But I know what that is. Most people don't. So please tell me, well, who are Squint? What is Squint, and what do you guys do?
So Squint Creative is a creative studio and CGI agency. Our primary focus would be 3D animation, fake out of home, interior and product visualization. We do it for a mix of direct to brand and agency as well. And we work across sectors like retail, hospitality, beauty, and FMCG.
Fantastic. And I have seen some of your creative work, and hopefully I'll be able to get like a little show reel to put on so others who are watching the video version of this can do that as well. But like, tell me about some of your top projects. Like, what has been your favorite projects to work on the last year?
That's a hard one. Yeah.
That's a loaded question. All of them are brilliant.
We tell all of our clients it's their favorite projects.
I've seen that progression, like literally from the first one that I saw ever was the Heineken one for the Open. And then every single one beyond that has just got significantly better and better and better and bigger as well.
Yeah, it's crazy how fast we're growing and how much other companies and businesses are really interested in CGI and fake out of home at the minute. Probably our most recent project would probably be the Primark one.
It's not live.
I know it's not live. This probably won't go live until...
What are you putting this out, Connor?
Oh, no, it'll be fine. Don't worry by then. It'll be completely fine.
Yeah. Our favourite project at the moment, most recent project I know, has probably been the Primark one for the new store opening up in New York. Mainly because it's probably, well, it is our very first New York project, isn't it?
A lot of our CGI has been like UK based or Northern Ireland based. Like, we don't really have much further afield, so it was the first one we got to actually use like a New York cityscape for it.
And we had done 3 separate CGI videos for that project, and strangely enough, completely unrelated to that, another client is on board for another New York City project.
Wow.
So it's kind of, I don't know, it's opening doors for us at the minute.
Yeah. I think it's exciting just because it's like a further afield, a new location for us.
Yeah.
So it's a new at the minute. But I'd say my favorite fake out of home that we've ever done is definitely Boost.
Boost was a good
I
one,
loved the Boost cans. We did them at City Hall, and you had the police Land Rovers cordon it off, and then we replaced the oval with a huge can of Boost, and I think it worked really well because at the time they were launching their new bigger size cans, so it was like a larger than life fake out of home stunt for a larger than life can.
More reanimated, like the news overlay and stuff as well, with the headlines and stuff. Yeah, that worked really well.
And tell me then, so some people here who are watching this, who are in agency space, don't even know what fake out of home is. So what is it?
It's CGI. So it got kind of the term fake out of home because it's taking a spin on your traditional out of home, only everything's digital. So it's essentially fake, or another term for it would be faux out of home or mixed reality. So it's essentially, we would go out and take footage and use that as a base plate, and then we would create all the 3D assets in like a 3D space. The software we use is 3ds Max, and then essentially we overlay that on top of the base plate footage, color grade it, match the lighting, and hit render, and it literally looks like it's right there in the space.
And I've seen it, and I always reference it as it's the exact same quality as Marvel's films, which are multi-100 million pound films, but done for B2B business.
Exactly. So we were thinking, how do we scale this back for Bob down the street who wants to do something big for his new, I don't know, sandwich shop or something? We've never done anything like that.
Sandwich shop clients.
Getting to the affordability point. People don't need to spend millions and millions on huge productions anymore, because we have scaled it right back to an affordable price for people to like use it for their own small businesses or large businesses or whatever, just for a 15-second reels on social media.
I was going to say, Anthony actually originally studied special effects at university.
Yeah, so I'd already done all of this in uni in Bournemouth, so it wasn't anything new or out of the normal for me. The only thing that was kind of new was scaling it the whole way back to fit for a social platform, and to fit for like hospitality sectors or beauty sectors, because typically they weren't the people that were utilizing this technology because it was out of reach at that point. And now it's kind of accessible for everybody.
Brilliant, brilliant. And so I love your story, and I love, no, do you know what? I'm not going to say anything more. Tell me how Squint came about first and foremost, and what did that first couple of years look like?
This is going to be a bit of a PTSD recollection here.
We're still in it though. We're definitely still in it.
We're still in it.
It's better now.
It's better now. So Squint started 2019, wasn't it?
Yeah, originally.
At the very end.
We were operating as sole traders.
Yeah, it was the birth child of COVID, basically. So both Elizabeth and I worked in-house at a diagnostics company, and that's where we originally met. And it's where we officially formed Squint as well. But we basically done the exact same thing as we're doing now in Squint in this company. And then when COVID hit, everybody was kind of upheaved, and we were all scientists for, what felt like the foreseeable back then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We never knew when we were going to get back into the office, but that quickly became from like a typical 9 to 5 office job to shift work, which were 12-hour shifts, overnights as well. So that went from three overnights,
3 on, 3 off shifts.
Yeah.
So we had a 3-day stretch essentially where we could work on whatever we wanted. We had never worked in that sort of pattern before. When you have 9 to 5, it's hard to pick up extra side hustles, I suppose, is what I would call Squint back then.
Yeah.
But when we had 3 off, we had a 3-day stretch where we could invest time fully. So we started building Squint in those 3 days off. And then after COVID sort of died down, we were moved back in the office work.
It probably wasn't the best idea to set up a company during COVID because everything was a lockdown. No one needed any business. You know what I mean?
Marketing budgets were being slashed, so we were like, great idea here. Let's set up a company.
But yeah, we set up a company and tried to do things remotely for the best part, working with little chippies on corner streets. And I think our very first job was 50 quid, wasn't it?
Yeah, for a photo shoot. We photographed a menu for a takeaway.
We thought this was class. Like, we're doing something we absolutely love and we're getting paid by these people to do it. But that wasn't enough to like quit our full-time job and go full hog in it. Especially when we didn't have any like savings or anything at that point. So COVID restrictions started lifting and we all got brought back into the labs, and I think we worked full-time still for about 3 years.
3 years, yeah.
3 years after that, and we were kind of building up Squint on the side as well. It just got to the point where clients always wanted meetings, client always wanted work done, and we just kept getting busier and busier. It got to the point where we were bringing our laptops into our full-time job, clocking out on our lunch break, plugging in the generator in the car, and taking client calls there and working and getting client work done while we were on our lunch break, and then clocking back in.
We used to do our meetings at the airport because the place we worked was quite rural, so there was nowhere else we could sit for a meeting. So if we had to jump on a Zoom call, we used to go to the airport and sit in the cafe part, so it looked like a normal enough background, and jump on the client Zoom there.
So we signed our biggest retaining client
in
from
that airport. Yeah.
And they're still with us today.
Yeah. Looking back, our clients probably didn't even realize that we weren't fully in the business because we just delivered as if we were. Like when we finished work, we went home,
and worked till about 3 o'clock in the morning, then up again at 6 and went back to our full-time jobs, clocked out in our lunch, and it was just like clockwork. Yeah. We done the hustle, and it's got us where we are now.
But that grind and that hustle, most entrepreneurs will relate to that. They will understand that because we all do those things, and we are working through the days. We are working through that. There is no shortcut to success in business. Yeah. And if you were to stop today and start again, would that not be the best process for you? Or would you be jumping in with both feet with no salary and no income? You know, that little transition across for me is always it's safer, but it does mean there's a year or 2 or 3 of really hard work and working through the evenings, working, in your spare time and just dedicating that to the business. What would you
Exactly.
do if you were to do it again? What would you do?
I think we would do it exactly how we did do it.
Yeah.
I
Well,
can't imagine us jumping in with no savings because Squint wouldn't be where it is today with all of that worry in the back of our heads.
yeah.
Um,
I think we just wanted to build up enough cash flow that when we went, Anthony went first. We actually did a stage
did a
approach. So
stage approach, which
Anthony
is
went
even
first.
more safe.
More,
Yeah.
yeah, more safe again. So Anthony went first. We knew there was enough cash flow to cover his role full time in the business. Afterwards, I made the jump once we had built up cash flow even more. So I think it was easier to leave a very secure corporate job knowing that there was money in the bank to pay you. I don't think we ever would have made the jump if we
Yeah.
hadn't had that safety net, to be honest.
I don't know.
Well, like you guys have had some amazing success over the last couple of years, and the campaigns that you've worked on. Well, I knew your campaigns, as I mentioned before I even knew you guys. But it's all well and good having lovely, beautiful creative, but it has to deliver on the other side. And you guys are so acutely tuned to the results that your work, provides to your clients that it amazes me, like how you think about that, because that's exactly how I think about things as well. And it's just very uncommon to see that from creatives. Like, so, tell me about some of the best wins that you can remember.
If we're thinking about our client ones in terms of Primark, we had huge stats from that campaign, but then it's hard to say that that's our best because Primark have a huge following. So organically, that campaign is going to outperform every campaign we ever do. In terms of a campaign that's performed really well from a completely unexpected customer, would be the Killwater campaign.
Killwater campaign, yeah.
They've got
Okay.
5 million combined views, and that's literally from a construction sector company. Like it's unheard of, that level of virality,
Really.
What's the one?
viral reach for someone from that sector. So I think that's one that I'm extremely proud of. The team at Killwater stuck their neck out to do something different in terms of fake out of home. And when we are bringing fake out of home clients on board, there's always the uncertainty that it's still quite not a fully used medium in the sense that people will use user generated content, people will use your normal like reel style content. But like in terms of fake out of home, they're a bit more like, oh, will this work for me? Or if they're a bit more brand conscious, will brand approve this? And there's always that element of if that's going to work for them. And the Killwater team were very brave, I want to say, in the sense that no one else in the construction sector was doing any sort of fake out of home CGI campaigns like this. They backed us, and there was back and forward on the idea and concept because they're quite strict on like what they can do and what they want to do with their brand. But Catherine and the guys were great and they got great results. So I was really proud to see that one do so well, especially from a sector that normally doesn't get that sort of reach.
Yeah.
And there was people interacting with it who were just normal people, not even from the trade sector. Like even the comments and engagement on the video was great. So that's another one I'm really proud of. And then the Visit Belfast one in terms of
Return on that one
yeah,
was really, really good.
they got a really good ROI on that. And then they actually came on board then for further videos as well.
Yeah, around Christmas time. Not sure if we can disclose any results there, but
No,
yeah,
no,
that
that's
was
totally fine.
probably
Totally fine.
Yeah, one of their best performing videos, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In terms of return.
And their second one performed even better. So the first one, the Big Fish, was excellent, and then the second one then performed even better.
Excellent. Now, I have a question because you are a married couple running a
Yeah.
business together. How,
Yeah.
after nearly 5.5 years at this stage, are you
Sixth,
finding that?
yeah.
We're in the 6th year of business, yeah?
Yeah,
How do you find that?
It's difficult. Like it is. It's 100% hard. I feel like with Anthony and I, we didn't know any different. We met through work, so there's always a work element to our relationship. It's what we bonded over initially. So it depends. I think it depends on your personality. What I find really hard about working with my husband is to try not. I'm normally very good with critique. If someone gives me critique, like if a client gives critique. Or if you, Connor, were to give critique, I would be very amicable about it, be like, oh, well, okay, maybe I didn't do it right, whatever. If Anthony gives me critique, which he does all the time, it's a completely different story. And I think it's still a learning curve for me because it's hard to not take it as in your husband thinks your work isn't good, you know, instead of
It's like
your business partner thinks that this could be done better, you know, like
it's a bit
it's
like
like,
you're supposed to have my back.
yeah,
kind of thing.
do you not love me anymore? But I think it's just a natural reaction. Do you take critique from someone who is so close to you as like a personal thing when it's not personal at all? So I think that was a huge learning curve for me at the start, and it's still a learning curve to this day. We still have ifs about it, but I think in general, for any relationship, having a shared goal is something that's only going to strengthen your relationship. And our business is a huge shared goal between us that
Yeah.
we constantly work on, constantly develop, and try and achieve together. So it's good and bad. It's bad in the sense that it can cause unnecessary fights where there doesn't need to be one, but good in the sense that you're stronger, your relationship's stronger because you're constantly working to a shared goal
Yeah.
together all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it's literally all we talk about
yeah,
besides our baby.
Well, that's another factor because you have a little baby, Margot,
yes,
and she
Yeah.
is
yeah.
very, very young. How does that all, you're running a very successful business and doing it together and doing it with a young baby in the house?
Yeah.
She's 15 months now,
Yeah.
isn't she?
I think it is. It was definitely easier before Margot. And looking
Oh,
back, we were a bit naive in the sense of that we were like, oh, baby will be fine. That'll be no bother at all. You know, like we didn't actually fully, you know, think about the
Yeah.
implications. But I think we are able to manage it quite well. I think it depends on your support system. So it's very like person dependent. We're workaholics. Anyway, if we whether we would have
Yeah.
had Margot or not had her, we're workaholics all the
Yeah.
time.
If we
And
miss like 4 hours out of the day, we'll make it up at nighttime.
yeah,
So
yeah.
we see ourselves working still to this day till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes.
And also with a young child, in a way, it's better for me because in the sense of if I need to do something with Margot during the day or childcare falls through, I'm permitting, I can just take those 4 hours out, to sort whatever needs sorted with our child,
Yeah.
and then work 4 hours in the evening. I actually do a lot of work when Margot goes to sleep. She goes to sleep at 7. We don't go to sleep until like 10, 11,
When the work's done.
and we're on a good night. But in a way, you know, it has allowed us, like it hasn't hindered us because
Mhm.
we just make up the hours elsewhere. But I think it depends too on if you're a person who values work-life balance. Whereas with us, our work is our life. Like people would say to us a lot, like,
Yeah.
what's your hobbies? Like, what do you do in your spare time? And it's either talk about our business or work on our business.
Yeah.
Like that's what we do for fun because for us it genuinely is fun. And I'm sure that's the way it is for so many founders and entrepreneurs. Like they find their business fun, you know?
Yeah. It's their pride. It's the results of their hard work and effort. And why would you not be proud of that as well?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like I put as much effort into my business as I have the entirety of my career
Yeah.
because it's reflective of me and the work that I do, and my clients' wins are my wins because of that as well. So no, I completely respect that. And I know it's not easy sometimes for any business and any business owner, but it is worthwhile when it all comes together. So I have a couple of loaded questions for you. The
Okay.
first one is because I know that this is one of the biggest things that you guys are combating against. Let's say whenever you post CGI, it's AI, because I've seen the comments myself saying this is just AI, this is just AI. But today in business, we're all using AI to some degree. How are
Yeah.
you guys using it in Squint?
We have actually started using a lot more of AI recently.
Yeah.
Even in our Fake Out of Home, we've started using a little tiny bit of AI.
Scene won't track specifically.
So whenever we go out and get a base plate of footage, depending on the weather, depending on the lighting, depending on the actual environment you're in, 3D tracking doesn't always stick. That's probably the most heartbreaking thing ever in
Yeah.
our line of work because you could travel, like we travel to London before Christmas there,
Yeah.
and we typically try and get maybe 12 to 15 takes of the exact same thing to make sure that at least one of those track. And sifting through those to try and get one tracked
Yeah.
is just, it's so time consuming as well. And whenever it doesn't track, like we're back to square one, we're going to need to go out there or pay someone to go
Reshoot.
out there and reshoot and try again. And then even then, there's still no guarantee that it's going to track again. And it actually happened to us quite recently there on a piece that we were working on where it didn't track fully and we were able to create the first scene. and put all the 3D elements and stuff in there, and then we were able to create the last frame as well, with all the 3D elements in there, and then we just fed it to AI, and AI kind of filled in the gaps, which is exactly what the camera would have done anyway. Just saved us a lot of time of having to go out and reshoot and that kind of thing. So many people out there thinking AI is coming for your job and it's gonna render all of us useless essentially. But at Squint, we're thinking, how can we use this to make our lives easier
Easier.
and to actually help? And that tracking issue is the perfect example. And it saved us a lot of heartache, and it looks exactly what we would have done in CGI anyway.
And
So
even in terms of that, the whole creative concept, the whole concept creation, putting it together, even creating the frames as a still is still led by you. So the creative's led by you, and AI is just filling in the pieces that technically would take a lot of time to recreate. So it's not actually creating for us. It's
it's
just
absolutely not. A lot of people think you prompt it, hit
yeah.
enter or hit go, and then it spits out this finished product. It's nowhere near what it
Yeah.
does. Like
Yeah.
it spits out, it spits out workable content, I'm going to say, and then that still needs graded and edited on our end to make it a finished, polished piece. So it's not perfect by any means.
No. It's a tool,
That
it's not the tool, I
Yes,
guess.
exactly.
exactly. I think down the line, it's not going to be 3D versus AI. It's going to be 3D X AI.
Yeah.
Um,
It's gonna be built
it's
into the workflow,
exactly,
essentially.
but that's just one of many ways we're using AI at the minute.
Very good.
We've built a complete website in AI.
With yourself.
Yes, I
I
haven't
don't know.
mentioned that on the podcast yet.
Yeah,
Great opportunity for me to, great opportunity for me to, I'll see if we'll cut this or not. But yes, I have launched a community called Augmented Agency, which helps agency owners to use AI in their business. And I am working side by side with the guys at Squint to help them understand the opportunities to build sites in AI. Again, it's a tool, not the tool, and we're using it to speed up the process. And so far, it's been incredibly well received. I'll say, tap myself in the.
Yes.
yeah, really, really well received. And at the end of the day, I don't think the client fully cares what this is built on.
No.
They only care about the end result.
And it's the same with most clients. There's the whole, should we be using AI? Shouldn't we be using AI? But at the end of the day, as an agency, what your client cares about is the results. And they do care about the process. I know there is elements of the process, but the parts that matter in the process and the creative process aren't being replaced by AI because they can't. The only parts that are being replaced are the technical parts that
Mhm.
AI can handle, do you know? So I think there's definitely merit to using it. And we're nearly like having this conversation, it's like we're scared to say we're using AI because there's so much,
And
animosity around it at the
yeah,
minute.
and I always go back to that argument as well. I think we spoke about that before, Connor. Whenever Photoshop first came about,
Yeah.
and people would edit their photos and digitally enhance photos,
Mhm.
and the first thing people would be like, "Oh, that's Photoshop," and
Yeah.
yeah, I just feel like people always want to be the first one to point out like the negative aspect of it, and look where Photoshop is now. Everyone uses it to their day to day, and I think that's well, I fully believe that's the way AI is. It's here to stay. It's going nowhere, and yeah, you either use it or get left behind. I think.
That's exactly it. There's been people on here. So far, you're the fourth of the podcasts I've recorded, and there is a mix of agencies who are not using it at all. And there's some who are using it, and they are agents. They're saying they're augmented agencies already because they're using it within their workflows. And I am the first to say that strategy is going to be what leads
Yeah.
agencies going forward. It's going to be that understanding, that knowledge, and that experience that we bring to the table. The doing is going to be commoditized because it
Yeah.
Yeah.
just will be. And that's not what our clients are paying us for. They're paying us for knowing which hammer to use, which screwdriver to use, which tool to use, and do
Yeah.
it in the best manner to give them the best results. And some of those times it's going to be AI, sometimes it won't be. And that's completely fine. But if we can do your site quicker, faster, better, have all of these extra functions that most agencies wouldn't even use, why would it not be in their benefit to use it, I guess?
Exactly.
100%. I think it's very medium specific. Like someone who works on brands and logos, they're not going to use AI to create a
Correct.
brand. It's not going to happen. They might use it in the workflow somewhere, but like more as like a process element.
Yeah.
But AI is never going to create a logo. It's never going to create a brand. It's not going to happen. But in terms of our work, because our work is quite, I like to actually say that we're a creative tech company, even though
Yeah.
none of us have a tech background, but we are nearly at that interface where we use AR, we use MR, like our work, VR, like our work is kind of at the interface where we need to be like slightly, you would dabble in code a lot to get experiences working.
Yeah.
So in terms of our workflow, it does slot in easier. Like even with 3ds Max, you know, it's a more technical software than what the Adobe software is. So it sits very different in our agency than what it would in a typical design studio or brand studio. It's not really the same thing. And, you know, I can see why people are, you know, anti-AI and rebelling against it. But for us, it's definitely something that we're implementing already. In a lot of our workflow, I use it a lot for even our wider strategy. If I have a thought, I dump it on the AI and it re-articulates it for me. And it's still my original thought, but it's able to phrase it in a way that I personally wouldn't have got to myself.
Yeah.
And like, I know, like, maybe I should have hired a copywriter, but at our size of a business, we don't have the budget for that yet.
Plans.
It's allowing us to scale quicker in the sense that we are able to articulate better, we're able to work faster, and like that's the main reasons why we're using it as a tool.
Yeah.
I have one last question for you. And if somebody came to you today saying that they wanted to start a creative agency tomorrow, what advice would you give them?
I would say definitely go for it.
Yeah.
Definitely go for it. Because we've experienced like a huge payoff now. Seeing all of our hard work come to life. So this very day
Yeah.
has been very, very rewarding. But I would probably tell them to get heavily involved in AI because that is where the world is going at the minute. And if they aren't aware of AI, definitely become aware of it because, they'll quickly get left behind, I think.
I think in terms of someone starting out, definitely go for it. But maybe like us, take a while before you go all in, build up your safety net, build up your business, you know, have maybe 1 or 2 retainers before you decide to make the jump. Just build a bit of security for yourself so that you're not panicking or cash flow isn't a worry for you. And then on top of that, also, it's not for everyone. So if you are doing it on the side, you'll get an idea of what it's going to be like, you know, full term. So that's why I would always say start off as a side hustle, part-time project before you know, don't just say, I'm going to start an agency tomorrow and this is it and I'm quitting everything. Unless you do have some sort of support in place for it.
Yeah. And it takes grit. There'll be days where you
Yes.
feel like nothing's working out and you want to give up. But then the next day, you sign one of the biggest clients and it makes it all worth it. So you just got to keep going and keep going and
Work through the
Man,
bad days.
keep the grind.
Yeah. Because the good days do come back. That is the
Yes,
thing. And
they
it's,
do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
there's a saying, I think it's from Lord of the Rings, this too shall pass. Or you shall not pass. No, it's you shall not pass. It's Marcus Aurelius from his book Meditations. It will pass basically. And it will, because these days are momentary. The good and the bad are momentary. And from our
Yes.
perspective, it's knowing that and knowing that these will change and knowing that there are better days ahead and that you do have the perseverance to continue on, because not every day is a winning day in business. We know, like we've had conversations ourselves and I'm very honest with them. I've had some terrible days in business where everything's going wrong, and then the next day, as you say, you land a big client, you close a deal, somebody pays you a big chunk of money that they've owed you, and that's a massive win. And it just gives you that spur to keep going on.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, look, thank you both for your time. I really appreciate you coming on to the show. And I just want to thank everyone else who's tuned in to the Extra Ready podcasts. If you like what you've heard, please feel free to subscribe and leave a little review wherever you're picking this up. And if you want to build the best version of your agency, check out moveapace.com, where I share a heap of resources, articles, and my own agency valuation assessment. So, Anthony and Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining me once more. And I will chat to you both very soon.
Thank you very much for having us, Connor.
Have a great day.
You too. Chat soon.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.